Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis. Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis. Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Them basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Them basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. I put that on my partner, I put that on my family. Oakland City represent, address me as your majesty. Yeah, you can kiss a ring, but you can never touch the crown. I smoke a million Swisher blunts and I ain't never coming down. Bitch, you ain't no Barbie, I see you work at Arby's. Never too supersize, hurry up, I'm starving. Gnarly, radical, on the block I'm magical. See me at your college campus, baggy full of Adderalls. Call me if you need a fix, call me if you need a boost. See them other chicken heads, they don't ever leave the coop. I'm in the coop cruising, I got the stolen plates, serving all the fiends over there by the Golden Gate. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis. Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis. Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Them basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Them basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. I put that on my partner, I put that on my family. Oakland City represent, address me as your majesty. Yeah, you can kiss a ring, but you can never touch the crown. I smoke a million Swisher blunts and I ain't never coming down.
Do you agree that there's no such thing as racism, sexism, homophobism, Islamophobism, deadbeat dadism, white supremacism, and all the other isms? Destiny, that's a woman's name. You were raised by your daddy and mama. That makes you half man and half woman. You are a beta. You're not a real man, beta. I just have one question for ya, beta. There's just one thing I want to know. Destiny, do you love all people? Do you really love the blacks? Destiny, do you love black people? Why can't you just answer the question? Destiny, do you love all people?
Systems, the company store, the paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderers, scum. They're on giant death factories, keeping babies alive and selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we wanna eat babies. I have them on video Hillary's in the creepy, weird, sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy, weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. What the hell? That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur. Literal vampire pot and the goblins are hobbling round coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap. We don't even notice hell itself rising up against us. Millions of pointed people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stab your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good, oh, they're so sweet.
I was watching Fox News as I worked out this morning.
Horrors in this house. There's some horrors in this house. There's some horrors in this house. There's some horrors in this house.
I said certified freak. 7 days a week. Wet ass P word. Make that pullout game weak. Yeah, you effin' with some wet ass P word. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass P word. Give me everything you've got for this wet ass P word. Beat it up N word, catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard. Put this P word right in your face. Swipe your nose like a credit card. Hop on top, I wanna ride. I do a kegel while it's inside. Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes. This P word is wet, come take a dive. And continue along these lines. And it gets significantly more vulgar. Like, a lot more vulgar.
I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. My children aren't going hungry. I'll do it. I'll drink your blood. And I'm starting to think about having to eat my neighbors. You think I like size it up? I'm gonna haul him up back chain. Chop his ass up, size it up. I'm gonna haul him up back chain. Chop, 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 chop. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. I'll barbecue your ass flat. I will cook your ass up so fast, and I'll tell them, oh, I killed a cow out back, baby. You think Christ would eat somebody? He would never do that. I will. I'm ready to hang them up, gut them and skin them and chop them up. You know what? I'm ready. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. And that's why I want the globalists to know. I will eat your ass first. I swear to God, if it's the last thing I do, I'm gonna get my hands around your throat.
What rolls downstairs, a loner in pairs, rolls over your neighbor's dog? What's great for a snack and fits on your back? It's long, long, long. It's long, long. It's big, it's heavy, it's wood. It's long, long. It's better than that, it's good. Everyone wants a long. You're gonna love it long. Come on and get your long. Everyone needs a long.
Log from Blammo.
Freaking
Liars are lying, and they will continue lying until you believe the lie.
It's another B-Word broadcast. Let's go! How's it going, chat? How you doing? Yo! It is September 9th. It's a Friday. Oh my god. It's the weekend. And the news is popping off. How you doing, chat? Thanks so much for the subscribe. The resubscribe. 5 months, Loud Tyrant Youth. Yo, what a beast. If you don't know Loud Tyrant Youth, one of the first followers, the most important type of person for the success of any venture. You gotta have your first followers, gotta have your first subs. So thanks so much for that. I'm here for it, you're here for it. It looks like another beautiful blue day here in Montreal, Quebec. So thanks so much for checking out this stream. We got ourselves a full day of content lined up. Starting off with the big news of the day. Bing Bong! Bing Bong! The Lich is dead! That's right, everybody. The queen of my country, Canada, the colonizer-in-chief, has croaked. That was an alliteration. I am obviously very inspired, feeling mad poetic. But yeah, how's it going, everybody? How you doing? It is September. I'm thinking of doing a subathon, probably Sunday now, because I don't have my shit together. But hey, it's looking like a good week for streaming. I got a ridiculous story for you. I completely broke one of my cables on my bike, which is the worst. I just snapped. Hey Sandy, ça va bien? Comment ça va? Ça fait longtemps là. Il y avait comme une soirée de cabaret, mais c'était complet quand je cherchais des billets. Yeah, how you doing? How you doing? Oh man, we're almost at the weekend. We should hang. So I broke my bike. Oui, cabaret au centre-ville, mais c'est complet. C'est aujourd'hui et demain, c'est le jour final. The last days for cabaret. It was Cabaret Circus. lemonastar.com. I know. I've been excited for it for so long, and then I just came across the sign, and it's like 8, 9, 10, and I look up tickets, and the only ones left are like obstructed view, view obstructed, and it was just like, oh, there's gonna be giant pillars there, but they had a cool setup, and man, just gonna miss it. Mais c'est la vie, à la prochaine. There's more circus and cabaret in this city. I think there's a big drag show coming up soon. But story time. So my bike's broken. I snapped the cable for my main gear, and so I don't really have a bike, and I decided to start walking to class. It's like an hour walk. It's pretty far, down to Concordia, and I'm walking in flip-flops. I'm late to class. I'm like reading. I'm also like reading a paper that for some reason we have to have read for this class that, you know, we just got stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's nice. At least they put it in the, at least they tell you, you know, this ticket's gonna suck. That's why it's cheaper. This ticket only take it if you really hate your life, you know, if you don't want to be part of the action, if you want the fear of missing out to be at its peak. So I'm walking, I'm trying to read this paper, and I stub my toe so hard. Okay. Merci, merci. Tu vas à l'Ottawa? Oh, cool. Pour quelle raison? What are you going to Ottawa for? Oh, you're in the car. Oh, nice. Oh, cool. Well, thanks for tuning in. I hope this is like a nice background chill podcast for the road. Don't destroy your data plan for me, though. I mean, keep things in perspective. So I'm walking along, and I stub my toe so hard, I actually start bleeding. Just from the blunt force of hitting the pavement, and there's like a big gap. And I'm like rolling around. Okay, wait. À la prochaine. I'm rolling around, clutching my foot, and this kind lady comes out from the clinic, and she's like, "You're not tanning, are you? You're not sitting on someone's lawn tanning." I'm like, no. She's like, "Okay, please come in. We'll bandage you up." So like, yeah, somebody just helped me out, random sweet favor, and you know, put a band-aid on me, got me all ready to go, and yeah, it was a nice sweet thing that someone did for me. You know, like it's that what you look for in a city. It's just like people doing kind favors, you know, little things. So okay, what's up next? Let's get probably to the stream. Oh yeah, and I had another idea for content. I was thinking of maybe doing like really chill, super relaxing streams of like reading good poetry, maybe like chill vibes, incense, even though you can't smell it. Because I got like so many books of poetry that I could read through, so many like really lovely sounding poems that could be really good. So yeah, I think I might try to get that going at some point. The big push will be for, I think, Sunday, when I'm gonna do my subathon. It's my anniversary on Twitch. It's my birthday month. It's September, which is kind of cool, I guess. I don't even know. So let's get into the news. Let's get to the main segment. I think there's even stuff going on live right now. So we'll jump into that and see how Britain is handling the loss of their monarch. Alrighty, let's go. Let's go, chat. Is it Parliament? Britain mourns the Queen. Is there no audio? Washington Post with no audio? No way.
Suspended after
There it is.
water started pouring through the ceiling into the press gallery.
We're gonna watch British people mourn the Queen.
How broken our Parliament was at that time.
Yeah, so many things happening.
Immensely stressful and politically charged period. On every occasion I met Her Majesty, I found her calm, warm, and reassuring. Like all who have spoken today, I was struck by her interest in current events and her lifelong service to our nation. As our longest reigning monarch and the world's longest serving head of state, she had an incredible insight into current affairs and was a great symbol of continuity
Current
in a
affairs.
rapidly changing world. I remember vividly a discussion we had about the online abuse that many members across the House face on social media. Her Majesty recalled a conversation she'd had with Sir Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the World Wide Web, and talked knowledgeably about the subject, despite social media being something most people in the 90s wouldn't know or care.
I think I'm just gonna giggle at every adverb. Every knowledgeably or charitably or indubitably. I'm just gonna giggle a little bit.
Majesty's desire to stay on top of current affairs stretched well beyond the papers she received in her daily red box. All these meetings took place with Her Majesty standing throughout and were often sandwiched between multiple other official engagements that she was undertaking. I last met Her Majesty the Queen on the 19th of July, at our last ever Privy Council meeting, when I was sworn into the Privy Council and presented with a Bible, which I carry with me today. I believe that made me the 1,336th person and final person to be sworn into Her late Majesty's Privy Council. It is an incredible honour as a minister for the past 5 years to get to meet a remarkable, caring, informed and witty monarch.
A witty monarch. Man, she was 95 years old. Like,
during her reign, but never stopped working day in.
There's no such thing as a witty 95-year-old.
It is an incredible honour for me as a Lancastrian MP to see the love felt towards Her Majesty Duke of Lancaster by so many of my constituents in Pendle, who I will be joining with in remembering and celebrating her life over this period.
Middle of work and looked at a DM that's like the queen died. Like, which queen? Wait, there's still a queen? Yeah. God save the king now. Oh. Oh, I'm learning.
Meeting the late queen personally, but I have met her son, the new king, on several occasions.
The new king.
Personally, to his deep love for the Highlands, and I know that my
I got a bunch of fun stuff lined up, so we might get off this pretty soon.
Holding him in our thoughts,
even if it's live.
he deals with this most personal of losses, that of his mother. But of course, as we know, the late queen was also a grandmother and a great-grandmother, and she acceded to the throne as a young woman at the age of 25 and was an inspiration and icon for many young women, and as we've also heard this morning, became an inspiration and an icon for many older women too. She was someone, as we can see from the tributes internationally, who was respected and admired far and wide. The vast majority of my constituents, whether they be monarchists or republican or anything in between, have never known a time when she was not our head of state. Our
wow.
sympathy goes to her family and all of those who are so deeply affected by her passing.
Okay, this is so dry.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And on behalf of the constituents of Harwich and North Essex, I rise to pay tribute to Her late Majesty, whose whole life was the greatest example of public service we shall ever witness, whose kind heart, sharp intellect, huge wisdom,
oh bro, oh man,
who had love in her soul for everyone and a serenity which even now calms the nation in these troubled times. She inspired so many good causes. I single out one, the Commonwealth. In 1952, a mere 8...
Okay, so let's just put some perspective on this. Queen Elizabeth oversaw and approved of many of the residential schools that indoctrinated, abused, and murdered young First Nations in Canada. A reminder, she decided to go to her grave instead of doing this. Canada's Indigenous leaders ask for a royal apology. We got the Pope. Why couldn't we get the Queen? That's what we really needed. We needed both the Pope and the Queen there to, like, be on their knees and say, I'm so sorry. Instead, we have Queen Elizabeth impersonators saying that this is our 9/11. I don't know how serious that is. There's also this that I cannot stop laughing at, which is a chart showing the number of people called Elizabeth in charge of the UK. And it rises to 2 for exactly 2 days. Because Elizabeth Truss was elected the prime minister. Took me so long to figure it out. Which is like, who else is called Elizabeth? This was T-Pain's reaction to finding out that the Queen has died.
Yeah, man. Fucking rip, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Good timing.
Damn.
Clip it and ship it. There was also this meme. This was awesome. This is honestly one of my favorite clips.
Cheers. Gentlemen, cheers. To the Queen. No, I hate the aristocracy.
Nah, man. The aristocracy sucks. Why would you toast to the Queen? Oh man, so good, so good. And then somebody like, this is awesome. This is also great. Could have just quoted me rather than completely ripping it off. No, I have no idea who you are. Yeah, this is the world we live in. We got death hunting for for Henry Kissinger and getting Queen Elizabeth II instead. the rare Henry Kissinger. Here is just for austerity or posterity, one of those austerity words. Queen Elizabeth II has died. From the BBC. The UK's longest serving monarch died at Balmoral, age 96. Wow. After reigning for 70 years. Died peacefully, came to the throne in 1952 and witnessed enormous social change. Her son, King Charles III, said the death of his beloved mother was a, quote, moment of great sadness. We mourn. Okay, we don't really care. This is fun, though. Charles' succession stirs Caribbean calls for reparations. Removal of monarch as head of state. Hell yeah. Truck yeah, brother. Let's go. The accession of... oh, sorry. I'm just going to put on some background music. Still in love with this mix track. The accession of King Charles to the British throne has stirred renewed calls from politicians and activists for former colonies in the Caribbean to remove the monarch as their head of state and for Britain to pay slavery reparations. Charles succeeds his mother, Queen Elizabeth, who ruled for 70 years and died on Thursday. The Prime Minister of Jamaica said his country would mourn Elizabeth, and his counterpart in Antigua and Barbuda ordered flags to half-staff until the day of her burial. But in some quarters, there are doubts about the role a distant monarch should play in the 21st century. Earlier this year, some Commonwealth leaders expressed unease at a summit in Kigali, Rwanda, about the passage of leadership of the 56-nation club from Elizabeth to Charles. And an 8-day tour in March by now heir to the throne, Prince William and his wife, Kate, to Belize, Jamaica, and the Bahamas, was marked by calls for reparation payments. Oh, man, get it, brother. Get that reparation. You deserve it. Quote, as the role of the monarchy changes, we expect this can be an opportunity to advance discussions of reparations for our region. Nyambi Hall Campbell, a 44-year-old academic who chairs the Bahamas National Reparations Committee, said Thursday. Hall Campbell sent condolences to the Queen's family and noted Charles' acknowledgement of the, quote, appalling atrocity of slavery. That's awesome. Sorry your mom died. Also, you suck. Also, atrocities. She said she hopes Charles would lead in a way reflecting the, quote, justice required of the times, and that justice is reparatory justice. Awesome. Get it? I thought that was a fun story. So I was gonna show you this thread, but the second image has in it blood and all sorts of TOS. Is a good thread that I did not know anything about. Ooh. Yeah, okay. Maybe I'll just skip the part that has the badness. It's only one image. Apparently it's based off of this book called The Blood Never Dried by John Newsinger, A People's History of the British Empire. And somebody did a Twitter thread on it, so let's give a quick read. An incomplete list of British crimes across the world under the reign of Elizabeth II. In 1952, Churchill argued Kenya's fertile highlands should only be for white people and approved the forcible removal of the local population. Hundreds of thousands of Kenyans were forced into camps. On the 30th of January 1972, the Bloody Sunday bad word was perpetrated by the Parachute Regiment of the British Army, who unalived 14 civilians at a peaceful protest march. Following the bad word, the British lied about the victims. Britain under Blair invaded Iraq and unalived over 1 million people. displaced millions more, brought unknowable depths of suffering to the Iraqi people, and gave birth to ISIS. And you can actually find quite a few clips of people just going up to Blair in restaurants, in public, saying, when will you be held to accountable for the crimes in Iraq? When will you go to submit yourself to the Hague for an investigation? All that kind of stuff. They're fascinating to watch because, like, he just brushes them off, laughs at them. It's eerie. But yeah, absolutely. Tony Blair got away with it. George Bush, they got away with what they did in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's crazy. Pictured here is Prince Harry, Elizabeth's grandson, who boasted he unalived in Afghanistan. He flew Apache helicopters and coordinated jets to drop 500-pound bombs on people he called, quote, Terry Taliban. Just having a gas. Man of the people. Britain carried out a covert war in Yemen, which led to 200,000 deaths between 1962 to 70 and unalived with impunity in Aden. Today, Britain arms, advises, and oversees Saudi Arabia bombing Yemen. Hey, remember that? The conflict in Yemen that's still going on right now? Pictured here is what Libya was transformed into after 6 months of NATO bombing, which assisted thousands of terrorists backed by Britain. The British government played an integral role in ensuring the most developed country in Africa, as per the UN's Human Development Index, was crushed. Libya. Libya, everybody, remember that country? In 1953, Britain under Churchill ordered the overthrowing of the democratically elected leader of British Guiana. He dispatched troops and warships and suspended their constitution, all to put a stop to the government's nationalization plan. Hey, don't you dare nationalize those resources that we need for our empire. We're just gonna yoink your head of state and replace your constitution. And what are you gonna do about it besides write books, maybe, I guess? Who's gonna read them? Haha, got you there. On 19th August 1953, Britain leads a coup d'etat that overthrows democracy in Iran, known as Operation Ajax, which overthrows the democratically elected Prime Minister Mossadegh. Coded messages were put on the BBC to let the Shah know democracy was overthrown. I think the comic book, Persepolis. Oh, I'm gonna forget what it's called. Persepolis. Yeah. If you ever get the chance, get your hands on a copy of this comic book. There's 2 of them. It is a complete story, but it is probably one of the greatest insights into Iranian history. This Commonwealth may be an anachronism of Queen Elizabeth did more for the UK than any of the 15 British prime ministers she saw come and go. Yeah, Simon, a lot of people will point out that she oversaw like the decolonization of Britain, but very much, like, I don't know how much that was because Britain wanted it to happen that way. That's kind of like outside pressures and just an overarching era of decolonization. Many of empires lost control over their colonies. But even in this thread, like, this is part of why I'm reading this, because I'm curious to see, like, what moral, like, claims, what can we put at the feet at the queen, you know? And I mean, she's a monarch. Monarchs, everybody. It's like the worst of the worst. Who wants a monarch? More than 80,000 British soldiers went to Korea between 1950 to 53 to assist the U.S. in the unaliving of 4 million people. Like, these are pretty big moments, right? Iran, the South Korea War, British Guiana. Like, this is not, like, disputed or anything. The British waged war in Malaya to loot rubber and tin between 1948 to 60. They also sprayed Agent Orange on food crops as part of their starvation campaign. The U.S. drew lessons from this for their war on Vietnam. And that's the end of the thread. So, just kind of curious, just kind of interesting. So, see what's up. And so just, oh fuck, we're gonna keep that where it is. And this is the one image that sort of like went viral today, which I thought was very British, extremely British. Very, very British. Yes, indubitably. Queen Elizabeth oversaw Brexit. Brexit means Brexit, bruv. Okay, moving on. Let's do something a bit more humorous. A Canadian citizenship ceremony was delayed after officials were confused whom to swear allegiance to following Queen Elizabeth II's death. It's awesome. A group of new Canadian citizens may have been the first to swear allegiance to King Charles III. Their virtual citizenship ceremony was delayed following the death of Queen Elizabeth II on Thursday. A journalist at the ceremony ended with the statement, "The Queen is dead. Long live the King." Nice. Tradition. Poggers. It's an old phrase. The King is dead. Long live the King. A Canadian citizenship ceremony was delayed on Thursday as officials figured out whom to swear allegiance to. Oh God. After Queen Elizabeth II's death, according to a journalist who attended. And that's when we knew the line of succession was clear. This isn't some Game of Thrones situation. On Thursday afternoon, the Queen died peacefully at Balmoral, the Buckingham Palace announced, ending her unprecedented 70-year reign. She was 96, just like dust and bones. The virtual Canadian citizenship ceremony, which had 141 attendees, was halted as officials talked to each person individually. Roberto Rocha, who attended the ceremony with a friend, tweeted, "I'm sitting with my friend who's at his Canadian citizenship ceremony via Zoom. There is a long delay. He was supposed to swear his allegiance to the Queen. I guess they're trying to sort out what to do now." Cedrol. When the participants took the citizenship oath, Rocha said they swore allegiance to Sa Majesté le Roi Charles le Troisième, Roi du Canada. Awesome. No gods, no queens, no masters. Yeah, Pog. Based. Okay, so this was an interesting tack. I didn't know this was happening. So let's take a closer look at it. It's apparently there was a big war going down on Wikipedia. I just love that Simpsons memes will never die. They just will never die. Lots of memes about speedy Wikipedia editors. Quick thread about what went down on Wikipedia in the minutes after her death was announced. At 1731 UTC, the first reputable sources reported Queen Elizabeth's death, and bam! Just like that, edit conflicts ensued. Nice. Her page had been pretty exciting the whole day, though. Here's a post from hours before, where people are deciding which historical pick is best. Once someone dies, Wikipedia generally uses a good historical pick instead of a recent elderly pick. Nice. Interesting. Right. I think we can get ahead of the curve and discuss pictures that are appropriate to use in the info box following the Queen's death. The first editor to update her death was Sidwunt, whose edit came in at 1732 seconds after the first sources broke the news. Sidwunt now has bragging rights and a talk page full of fans. Is this how you build clout? I don't know if this is how I want to build clout. I am the fastest editor at Wikipedia on the page of Queen Elizabeth II. Like, it's in their Twitter profile. But there was more to do. The Queen Elizabeth II article had more than 55 edits in the next 15 minutes, changing verbs to past tense, updating categories, updating the info box, etc. That's awesome. A 6-membered task force called Wiki Project London Bridge cropped up to maintain the following articles. Reminder that everyone is doing this for free. They just think it's fun and important. Note that there's a separate article, Death of Elizabeth II. 2 hours before Her Majesty's death, user Thriley created a draft article. 3 minutes after the official draft announcement, it was moved from draft to main space article. Interesting, like a branch in the public domain. And then, 10 minutes after the death announcement, the article Reactions to the Death of Elizabeth II hit the main space, and immediately there were reactions to the death of Elizabeth II. Editors are discussing a merge with Death of Elizabeth II. Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, extended his deepest condolences on the passing of Queen Elizabeth. Charles's article changed titles 5 times while people waited for his official regnal name. It's, surprise, Charles III. Charles, Prince of Wales. Charles III. Charles, King of the United Kingdom. Charles III. Charles, King of the United Kingdom. Charles III. By the way, Dutch Wikipedian, hey-if-I, coined a name for the people who race to change the tense. Deaditors. Huh. In a blog post, he discusses that deaditors are more likely to be anonymous users and smartphone editors. He's dead, Jim. Also heads up that if you're brand new to editing, news topics are not the most beginner-friendly places. They're a bloodbath. Wait, what? Is that a bad word? One of my favorite data visualization projects ever is this Pudding Viz project about how public figures articles get huge page view spikes when they die. Okay, that's interesting. It takes some hours for the page view stats to update, but you can already see how much they spiked on September 8th. That's all I have for now. Sorry if this isn't funny or depths, but I think it's cool to see how editors write history in real time. Absolutely. When a famous person dies, articles are written, tweets are tweeted, and Wikipedia is updated. It's a big deal. But just how big? To put it in perspective, let's look at living icon Beyonce. English language Wikipedia page views between March and May of 2016 in 48-hour intervals. Wow, that's actually a really short. Sheesh. So like 25,000 maybe, and then it jumps up to 300. That's clout. Yo, I can't wait to. I can't say it. I can't say it. It's too morbid of a joke this early in the morning. Oh my god. On April 24th, Beyonce. Okay, I'm reading this wrong anyways. Let's just read the article. Stupid. On April 24th, Beyonce dropped Lemonade, and the internet went wild. Her page views increased tenfold, from about 30,000 to nearly 300,000. And now let's take a look at Prince, starting with the period leading up to his death. In the 48 hours after Prince's death was reported, he accumulated over 11 million page views on Wikipedia. The news of his death was reflected in the traffic. Oh, that's so interesting. More than 1,300 notable people died in the past 3 years, according to Wikipedia. Here are 84 who got over 500,000 page views in the first 48 hours after their death. See Prince, Stephen Hawking, who's Sri Devi? Barbara Bush, Mary Tyler Moore, Antonin Scalia, of course, David Bowie, Carrie Fisher. Oh man, remember that year when it was like celebrities are dropping like flies? Although no one grabbed our attention quite like Prince, the spike in page views after a celebrity's death can often overshadow that of other major events, even a presidential inauguration. LeBron James finals, there's the Donald Trump inauguration, Meghan Markle, Chris Cornell, George Michael. Oh, this is really nice. Look at this go. It's pulling, cause of death. Nice. Wow, this is so well coded. While not perfect, Wikipedia traffic serves as a solid proxy for the ebb and flow of a celebrity's cultural relevance. It makes sense that household names like Prince and Stephen Hawking get the most traffic immediately after their death. The bigger the star or tragedy, the more they are searched. After Anthony Bourdain died, it seemed like everybody, myself included, couldn't talk about anything else. It was sad and unexpected. I remember like, Robin Williams, right? Same thing. I could rattle off a dozen other recent deaths that seemed to eclipse the rest of the news cycle, but which celebrities' page views grew abnormally high? Let's look at the percent increase in page views compared to a typical day. 161,000% increase? Wait, what? That's incredible. Kate Spade? Who? 2018, she founded a fashion design. Whoa. Hot. George Michael, I recognize. Chris Cornell. The first 48 hours only tell us part of the story. We develop special relationships and often identify with celebrities. This is why Bourdain's death had such an impact on me. Watching his show, I traveled the world alongside him for countless hours. And now I rewatch him more now than ever. How long celebrities remain on our radar provides a different perspective on the impact of their death. Here are the number of weeks after death until page views return to normal. Interesting. Wow, and print 7 weeks. 7 weeks. That's several months. To be determined. Some of these still going. Avicii? Who's Avicii? I feel like there's some really good music in here, maybe. We go mining. Kim Jong-hyun? Who's this? Singer-songwriter? It's always the singer-songwriters. Adam West, only 2 weeks in the sun. It's like the half-life. But not everybody's page views returned to normal. At the time of publishing, Bourdain's traffic remained steadily and significantly higher. There are plenty of possible reasons for this. Perhaps the person was relatively unknown before, and their death increased their visibility. Or maybe there was a renewed interest in their life's work. Let's look at the 1 week moving average of the percent increase in page views compared to the pre-death average. Alright, I think this is where I'm starting to lose interest. I just think this is wow. Such great data visualization. Woo! And it highlights and show. Wow. Wow. Come on. That is so well coded. Impressive. I've never seen anything like this before. That's pretty much it. Pretty much it. Data and methods. This is the last chart. All right, well, that was a nice little detour. Nice little detour from the news. All right, what do we got next here? I think we're jumping off of the Queen's death story. There's other stuff breaking. It's a big news day. F5 Friday, as you know. We'll check in on the live stream just to see, just in case. Maybe maybe the British are being slightly interesting. Just maybe. We'll see. Maybe, possibly. Let's see. I just gotta kill the tunes. Okay.
He's a real person who wants to communicate what he feels
He's
is
a new king.
important. And I suspect, I can't be sure of this, but what I think he will want to get across tonight is that he has lost his mother, we have lost our queen, and that the years of her service are what we really should be remembering now, and he will be paying tribute to her in this speech and in all of the services that he will take part in around the United Kingdom.
That's something I do want to see. Like, I would like to see the king's the new king's first speech. That's history, baby. That's history.
Him declaring himself to be king to the nation.
Yeah,
Very
exactly.
much his intention that those services should be acts of remembrance for the Queen.
But there is a fine line, isn't there, between the remembrance of the Queen, which of course is hugely important and which the country will not want to hurry through in any way because of that fondness and the enormous reverence that we all held her in, most of us held her in. But there does come a point where he and the institution of the monarchy has to get going, has to start again. I mean, never stops, we're told, but
apparently Irish Twitter is just like absolutely blowing up, so we're gonna have to take a look into that.
Change gear and move forward.
Yes.
Power forward.
Yes, and I think in the first instances he will be at pains to point out that he's here to serve. I mean, his motto as Prince of Wales was Ich dien, I serve. And that notion will carry on, and I'm sure he'll want to get that part of the role across tonight, just as the Queen did when she made that first.
Let's take a look at Irish Twitter. We'll just
in her 20s.
Yeah, extraordinary. We'll remember that.
Let's just keep bouncing back between the very austere, super serious British coverage that the Queen has died and a new king ascends to the throne, and Irish Twitter. We'll just keep bouncing back between these two perspectives. Time to riot, accept no masters. Let's go. Wait, let's go should work. What's going on? No matches? What is this? Hey now. Hey now. What are you doing to me? What are you doing to me, Twitch chat? What's going on? Where's my emotes? Where are my emotes at? Irish Twitter being warned to behave itself. Black Twitter, Irish Twitter, and Indian Twitter today. On behalf of native Twitter, I'd like to extend my congratulations to Irish Twitter on this amazing day. Irish, Indian, Kenyan, Nigerian, South African, and Caribbean Twitter right now. Irish Twitter right now.
I was born on a Dublin street where the lion girls did beat.
I don't know who needs to hear this, liberals, Ukraine flag Twitter idiots, but you have literally zero right to tell Irish people and anyone who lived under British colonial oppression how they should feel about the Queen passing. Okay. Here's this should be funny. Bro, ain't got no chill. Oh no. All of Irish Twitter after hearing that the Queen's dead. So yeah, as you can see, same clip again. Lizzie's in a box. Okay, clapism. Okay, something's wrong. What's going on here? How do I what's happening? Where's my emotes? Oh, this is what I wanted to show you. Oh, except it's at the MCA, so you know the song, but they're just absolutely crushing it. So good. Literally tap dancing. Yeah, so it's been pretty funny. It's pretty good. Brits today, you're laughing. Our queen is dying and you're all laughing. Show some respect. Oh, that was river dancing? Nice. Oh man. So good. Yeah, exactly. The memes. Okay, there were some jokes, I think, I don't know if they're true or not, that like even Twitter replies were slowed down because people were posting so hard. All right, back to austere British coverage. That the Queen has formally passed from the mortal coil.
After the Duke went. But she's wonderful to think that a day before she shook the hand of our new Prime Minister. Really wonderful. Yes. And I've kind of followed that. I keep going to the end.
To know that she was here and she was always here. I think that was memorable.
Okay.
That was powerful.
Okay.
Now she's not here. And
Wait.
it's like a voice.
Her hair does not match her vibe at all. Fabulous nails. But she's tearing up over the Queen
That
being
gets
dead.
me every time. In York, a book of condolence has been opened at York Minster, and Sarah Corker is there for us this afternoon. Sarah.
Yes, that's right, Mary. People have been queuing here quietly and patiently to sign that book of condolence, and hundreds of people have already been through here today, leaving their own very personal tributes. And earlier today, the bells rang out for an hour consistently. People have been coming down to lay flowers, to pay their respects, and also to light a candle and to take a moment to pause, really, and just reflect.
The emotes are not working in Twitch, but they're working on stream. So I guess that's the part that matters. What's wrong with you, Twitch? Come on.
Just talk to me about why it was
First
so
you take away
important
hosting.
for you to come here.
Well, in 1989, I was presented the OBE.
89?
by the
I wasn't
Queen.
even alive then.
I've always been a monarchist, but it made me more so.
A monarchist?
And I felt almost
would be an old geezer
crying for the fact that she's died. She's wonderful.
I can tell you're feeling emotional now being here. I mean, how do you remember her? What are some of your recollections?
She was a very graceful lady, and I remember was standing there in front of her, shaking her hand, because she always advised shake carefully. And she said to me, "Why are you here?" And I said, "Well, I was actually sorting some of the problems in your grounds for the trees, because that was my responsibility to the government at the time." So I said, "Oh, fine." And then, of course, you walk off, and much to the annoyance of my wife, who was in the balcony looking at us, and I never looked back, because that's how nervous I was.
And for many people today, it's about a tribute to the Queen, who has been a constant part of all our lives for so many years. How does it feel being here amongst all these people, being able to, say a prayer and also just reflect together?
Well, the thing is, we came up to see my granddaughter in Newcastle, and I said, I want to stop in York on the way back. So we did, and we happened to be here when the Queen died. And I then said to my wife, I must go and sign a book of condolence. I've met her. I've been to a garden party, not that brilliant, but it's lovely. So hence, as a result of that, we decided we'd come here, and that's what we're doing now. We're here to just sign the book of condolence. And the thing is, when you think all her reign, she's sustained the nation constantly, and it's sad that she's gone.
John, I really appreciate you sharing your thoughts with us there. Thank you so much.
She didn't want her corgis to live after she died, so somebody's got to go off the corgis, I think. Just
gallery images of the Queen, previous visits to York Minster. The last time she came here was a decade ago for the Maundy service, and you can probably see.
I usually screen them off screen. I don't just bring them up live. But honestly, I've seen nothing but kind folk come through here, except when it's like an Andrew Tate stream or something, and you get some weird people. Not the good kind, the I'm trying to hurt you kind.
I wonder if, and you said earlier on that you were feeling a little bit emotional. I wonder how many people, when they heard the news yesterday and woke up this morning, felt unexpectedly emotional for all sorts of quite
the emotions,
inexplicable
man.
reasons.
I love that they're
I have a neighbour who's French and describes herself as a Republican, and she messaged me that she'd been crying. I've been getting a lot of messages like that. And I think one shouldn't forget also that we live in an era of grief and loss. We've just...
That's awesome. That's awesome. I've been playing so much Elden Ring. I've just been hammering home Elden Ring. I got so deep into a dungeon, and then I died and lost 50,000 runes, and I'm like, I can get them back, just really far away, or I can start a whole new save file. And now I'm 25 hours into my third save file. Oh god, no. Oh god, the early game is just so good.
And you're nodding, and I am too. I mean, it really chimes.
Is that God Save the Queen?
Yes, well, I was at the Royal Albert Hall last night when the news broke, and there was about to be a concert that I was actually hosting, given by an American orchestra. The concert was cancelled, by which time the crowds had already started to come in, and everyone was told, the concert's cancelled, all you will hear is the national anthem, and then you'll have to go home. And everybody stayed. And it was incredibly powerful, standing in the Royal Albert Hall. In fact, the orchestra then played a beautiful piece by Elgar, Nimrod, which brought the tears to everyone's faces. But what really struck me was the fact that people didn't want to go home. They felt...
I think the part I find weird is that people are describing this deep emotional connection with someone whose entire identity is that of representing an institution, is that of being a head of state. It's not the Queen, the person. They didn't know her personally, right? The only people who could speak like that are her family, I guess, like Prince Charles or King Edward or whatever. So all these people tearing up, they're tearing up about this like adoration for the state, just blind, like a nationalism almost. And it's not even like the state is in a period of great flux. Who's super old. Everybody knew she was going to die eventually. No other options left. It's not like there's a problem with succession. The guy taking it is 73. Look at him. He's about to knock off. So I just don't understand why this is being treated as the sort of enormous seismic shift. It's I mean, really?
Time as the new monarch. Crowds of people who travelled from all over the country to pay their respects, and countries that...
I met the Queen once.
And to welcome the new king.
But also, after what? How many years of democracy? Decades of democracy? A century of democracy, if not more, in Britain. Britain's one of the first. Well, not the. Ah, man, how old is Britain's democracy? When did they? Because there's always like that tension between Parliament and the aristocracy and the monarchy. But when did it like really get phased out? I just can't imagine in this era of capital D democracy that people are getting all, upset over a dead monarch.
This morning.
Why?
Now, just 24 hours ago in the House of Commons, we saw the first sign, just an indication that something very serious might be happening, as notes were passed to the new Prime Minister and the Speaker of the House. Now, this lunchtime, MPs from all sides of the House returned following news of the Queen's death for a minute's silence and to pay their respects.
Minute of silence. I can't do a minute.
As the longest-serving monarch this country has known, she would have been assured of a notable entry in our history books, even were it not for the magnificence in which she...
A minute of silence from a Twitch streamer. Impossible challenge.
entailed, not just as head of the nation, but head of the Commonwealth, head of the armed forces, and supreme governor of the Church of England.
Everyone who met her will remember the moment. They will speak of it for the rest of their lives.
Will they though?
Even those who never met her, Her late Majesty's image is an icon for what Britain stands for as a nation. On our coins, on our stamps, and in portraits around the world.
Oh, we're gonna have to change all our silly Canadian currency. Oh man, the Queen's all over it.
The global history she witnessed and the lives that she touched.
Queen Elizabeth created a special personal relationship with us all.
Did she though?
That relationship was built on the attributes.
Because it's a symbol of order that people are mourning. Yeah, that's a really
total commitment to service and duty. Her deep devotion to the country.
Yeah,
the
it's not
Commonwealth.
like usually when there's like historical takes on the Queen, it's that she was a sovereign, that she was absolutely, I don't know, she took her job seriously, let's say, but it's just so hard to summon any sense of, yeah, I don't know, grief. Yeah, how's it going? How's it going, Laura? Yeah, the corgis are gonna get it.
I had a split-second decision.
Remember when she was Prime Minister? Look at the canned laughter. Indubitably.
I picked up the cheese, put it on the plate, and put it on the table.
It's a story about cheese.
And I turned round to see that my every move
Of course, it's about cheese.
had been watched very carefully by Her Majesty the Queen. I looked at her. She looked at me. And she just smiled.
In the 1950s, when she was crowned, I was a child, and I remember my mother warning me that people thought men knew more than women, that men's views were valuable, whilst women's were to be disregarded.
That's true.
And so it was in that atmosphere that she stepped up as a 25-year-old married woman with 2 children
That's
to
usually
take
what
her place.
it's usually what the historical take is, that she like was able to rule as a woman and definitely like represented such a well, she broke the ceiling, everybody.
Today, there are countless people.
The golden ceiling.
In this country.
Holy.
And around the world.
Holy
who have
appointment.
experienced the same sudden access of unexpected emotion. And I think millions of us are trying to understand why we are feeling this deep and personal and almost familial sense of loss. Perhaps
Familial
it's
sense of loss?
partly that she's always been there, a changeless human reference point in British life.
Sure.
Well, our political editor, Robert
Like
Peston,
a building.
is in the Houses of Parliament for us now. Robert,
Or a
I'm quite a
street.
morning, really. It's been quite a 24 hours, hasn't it? Silence in the Commons first off, and then some really wonderful speeches. What were the highlights for you?
Well, I just wanted to sort of say initially, you know, as Boris Johnson pointed out and as we've been pointing out on our own coverage, of course, you know, for millions of people, this is just a day of great sadness because of the affection that they felt for the Queen. But she also played this...
Also a day of celebration for many people from colonized countries around the world.
See, the constitutional monarchy we have here, absolutely vital to
I'm going to pull up a great chart for you.
Late last night, I was here just before midnight, articulated lorries here, unloading kit, furniture, because of course here in Parliament, in Westminster's Great Hall, she will be lying in state in just a few days' time. Again, just showing the extraordinarily important role that the monarch plays in our system.
I cannot get over this chart. I have just been talking about it. Oh God, please go away, cookie nonsense. Only 22, this is from Statista, so it's a very reputable source. The only 22 countries who have never been invaded by Britain. Hey, there's my country. Or at least, I guess it wasn't my country at the time. It was a bunch of different peoples living there. But let's go through these very relevant and big countries that have never been invaded by the British. And it's like the landlocked countries. It's like the middle of Africa, Mongolia, and like the Arctic reaches, oh my God, of the Nordic Circle. The middle, was that Ukraine, like the middle of... Is it Ukraine? Am I guessing it? How's my geography? Okay, so we got Andorra, Belarus, that's Belarus over there, Bolivia, Burundi, Central African Republic, Chad, Congo, Guatemala. Where is Guatemala? Isn't that like, yeah, Central. Again, like right in the middle. Ivory Coast. Oh, I don't know where Yo, no follow. How's it going? Yo, Max, how are you not a... Wait, what's happening? How is this possible? She was made queen after India's independence. My Indian grandparents weren't affected by colonialism since they were Hyderabad and appreciated that UK had royalty. Yeah, there's definitely like a really like odd and interesting history between India and Britain, because Britain like used... Oh, help me out here. Was it... who would be like the sort of like overlords of a particular region? It's not like a Shah, because that's like oh, you subscribed on YouTube. That makes more sense. You're funny, Max. Gotta boost those numbers. Let's go. Yeah. I lost my train of thought. It was about trains, right? Oh, geez. It was about the relationship between India and Britain, and how like Britain asserted colonial rule through, you know, India's already existing patriarchal political landscape. And I think that created a very different relationship, because then you had like an elite class that could build very positive and like healthy, in their minds, like in their sensibilities, relationships with the British. Like, remember, Gandhi studied at a British university because that's where rich kids were sent to become lawyers, and it was like a big part of his development process, and also the ignorance of the British when it came to partitioning Pakistan. Like, that was another major factor to reflect upon. Man, the British fucked up so much shit. I mean, they've been around for a long time. They've definitely been around a long time. I know that the French have like the best. I think it's like their army does the best comparatively throughout history, because they've just trounced the British so many times. which is fun, which is great. Okay, are we ready to move on? I have other news. There's a whole second segment. Got a couple palate cleansers before that, but then yeah, I was thinking of looking back towards the Department of Justice appealing the wackadoodle judgment, you know, over the Trump case, over the FBI case. Like, it's insane that this investigation over national security has been stopped, that the Department of National Intelligence can't keep investigating because of some judge, that like all sorts of craziness happening. So here's a quick palate cleanser. This is pretty big news. I know I've fallen off on the Ukraine. I got a little woozy about like my sources. I didn't feel very confident about where I was getting my sources, so I fell off on Ukraine. But this is a big enough story to make the headlines. There's a surprise counterattack against Russian troops while they're distracted in the south. Also, this really based image. Ukraine appears to have surprised Russia with a series of counterattacks in the northeast of the country. Military strategists say Kyiv is likely to have taken advantage of a recent redeployment of Russian troops to defend against a Ukrainian counteroffensive in the south. And these advances may be threatening important Russian supply lines. And that really seems to be the sort of arc of this war, is Russia's having a hard time keeping their supply lines up. So if you're following closely to the Ukrainian, the war in Ukraine, then this is a good little thing to be aware of. It looks like at least a positive turn. But this has been going on for so long. Like, man, I cannot believe this war is still happening. It's honestly incredible. Putin's doubling down, tripling down, and still more strikes against Kharkiv. So yeah, we're not going to do war coverage. It's not on the main segments, but I thought I'd just like dip my toes into that real quick. Another brief story we'll touch on just because I've been covering it like mad. I honestly have a hard time digesting this one. Multiple people have been shot in Uvalde, Texas at a memorial for the 21 lost to the school shooting that was there. So yeah, there's been another shooting in Uvalde, Texas at the bloody 2 people got shot. Like, how? It's a memorial. Like, I don't even, it's getting so beyond the pale. As dozens of kids played, oh, sorry, let me just put on some background music. Here you go. As dozens of kids played and people picnicked Thursday afternoon at Memorial Park in Uvalde, Texas, gunfire interrupted in what authorities believe was gang-related violence about 1.5 miles from the now shuttered elementary school where 21 people were... Okay, so it was unrelated. 2 people were shot around 5:30. 2 juveniles were taken to hospital in San Antonio for treatment, Uvalde Police Department said. The victims' identities and conditions weren't immediately known. 4 suspects are in custody and being questioned. The shooting is believed to be gang-related. Okay, if we believe the mayor and the police on that. So so this sounds like it was unrelated, but still pretty messed up. You got white kids going in with ARs to schools and whatever the hell is going on in the streets. Dang. Okay, so that's what we call a palate cleanser. Okay, here's an actual palate cleanser. Let's watch Steve Bannon's perp walk. Let's go. Ah, you said the bad word.
Not yet begun to fight.
Finally.
This is what happens the last days of a dying regime. They will never.
This is, I thought this was America. You love to see it.
For every conservative this is what happens the last days of a dying regime.
That's it, conservatives. You hear that? You hear that? The regime is dying. Get fucked, Bannon. Let's go. Did you hear a slide whistle? Yeah, maybe. It was part of the mix track, but it actually was really well timed, considering I think the words out of my mouth were palate cleanser. Whoop. Okay, so let's get to the second main segment for today. Actually, let's just do the news part of that perp walk, which is why Bannon got arrested. He was charged with money laundering in the border wall fundraising case. This is from Axios, Ivana Sarek, and Aaron Dougherty. Former Trump advisor Steve Bannon was charged by prosecutors in New York. As I play this music. On Thursday with money laundering and conspiracy in connection with allegations that he defrauded donors. It's always fraud with these people. Man. He defrauded donors to a group aimed at building a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border, allegedly. Bannon surrendered to the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and pleaded not guilty to 6 charges, which include 2 counts of money laundering and stem from his work with We Build the Wall. State of play. Trump pardoned Bannon at the end of his term in a similar federal case, but presidential pardons don't apply to state investigations. Oh, dang. That's how he got perp walked. Hasn't he been outside of the U.S. for years just to avoid this very thing? I thought he came back to like pick up on his radio show. I didn't know that he had left the country, but apparently it doesn't sound like he's getting extradited. So yeah, he surrendered to Manhattan in New York. Bannon had pleaded not guilty to the federal charges before Trump's pardon. In a statement Tuesday, Bannon slammed the expected. You don't have to use the word slammed, Axios. Come on, like this isn't a headline. The expected New York indictment as phony charges and nothing more than a partisan political weaponization of the criminal justice system. Man, like they're getting good at this. It's like a rap at this point. You may haven't really followed any Bannon news. Yeah, neither have I. This is where I'm dipping my toes in because it's like, yeah, perp walk. Who doesn't love a perp walk? Perp walks are awesome. What they're saying. Quote, it is a crime to turn a profit by lying to donors, and in New York, you will be held accountable. Alvin Bragg, the DA for Manhattan, said, quote, as alleged, Stephen Bannon acted as the architect of a multi-million-dollar scheme to defraud thousands of donors across the country, including hundreds of Manhattan residents, he added. There cannot be one set of rules for everyday people and another for the wealthy and powerful. Oh, man, what a great segue. What a great segue to our next segment about a criminal president getting a corrupt judge to do his bidding and somehow managed to stop a criminal investigation into his crimes. All the crimes and criming he's been doing. So, if you haven't been hip to the news, the FBI raids Trump because they have a good idea. They got tips or something that he's not properly handling stuff. They pick up a bunch of boxes. They start going through it. They start seeing like classified material right beside like regular correspondence. You go, holy cow, this is crazy. And then Trump like files in a different district, like a totally different court that doesn't have jurisdiction over like these types of raids or over classified information, something to that effect. And she rules anyways, and she like bends over backwards to like basically give him the cake and let him eat it too. The judge had ruled to authorize a special master to review documents the FBI had seized from the Mar-a-Lago home. It's Judge Eileen Cannon, and she approved an outdog watchdog. And everybody's like, but wait, won't she need clearance? And sorry, I missed your comment, Technomicah. Yeah, I mean, everybody knew the wall was about money laundering. I guess the part I'm wondering is, when is Canada going to build our wall to defend ourselves from the Americans before they come and invade us, you know, for our water? We got to do it before the Great Lakes are sucked dry, you know? We got ourselves a little video, so let's take a quick look, see if it's worth the effort. It's entertaining and informative.
Justice Department is fighting back in the legal battle over top secret documents seized at Mar-a-Lago. DOJ lawyers say they plan to appeal a Trump-appointed judge's ruling that blocks investigators from retrieving the stash of files unless the judge makes some big changes. The judge ordered a pause, in effect, until a neutral special master can sift through all the documents and pick out anything that's covered by executive privilege, therefore off limits. In a court filing today, DOJ lawyers argue slowing down a criminal investigation involving risk to national security would cause irreparable harm to the public and the government. The Justice Department is asking the judge to allow investigators to keep reviewing more than 100 classified documents. The feds say a special master could still look through other seized evidence, but not the classified material.
No.
If the judge
Why?
does not agree with the request, the DOJ is threatening to go to the appeals court.
Oh,
For legal
nice.
analysis,
Drag it right
former
out.
federal prosecutor Renato Mariotti's here. Renato, this really doesn't look
great
like
Canadian
a
ice
clear
wall.
appeal. What exactly?
Yeah, it's 200 years in the future. America has separated into 4 countries. Like, there's like Canadians above the wall of ice, like a la Game of Thrones, and we're all like, what do they call them in the show? Wildlings? Canadians just become wildlings over time.
Is the department doing here?
Well, I think they're actually trying to give the judge a bit of an out. They're trying to give her a path out of a ruling that I think is very questionable. So what they're basically telling her is,
Very questionable.
we're going to give you part of what you ordered, but if you decide that you aren't going to let us, for example, proceed with our review of these classified documents, or, for example, if you're going to have the special master review them, we're going to appeal this. And what that suggests to me is that these documents are so highly classified that the government doesn't even want a special master taking a look at these documents, and they think that their continued evaluation of these documents is important for our national security.
I think
So
my
if the
favorite
judge
part
doesn't back
of
off on this order,
I think my favorite part of this story that just sort of stresses the insanity of it is that the FBI officers break in, they get the boxes, and they're like, oh crap, I don't have clearance to look at this. And they bring it back to the office, and then the lawyers walk in, and they're like, oh, we don't have clearance to look at this. It's like, who does? I don't know. It appears only the president and his cabinet. Like, yikes. That's so insane. One of the other stories, I don't know if it's true or not, but one of the stories I've heard floated about in legal Twitter is that it's possible that the national security apparatus found out about this because of a foreign security, like foreign intelligence, like let's say Israeli intelligence, for example, said to them, hey guys, this came across our desk. What's it doing? What's it doing out in the wild? You might want to take a look at your previous head of state. Maybe take a look around his hotel.
The out, as you put it. Does this mean we'd see a long, drawn-out fight? Isn't that what DOJ is trying to avoid here?
Yeah, I think what DOJ is doing, and I think it's fairly smart on their part, is they're going to agree to the appointment of a special master as to certain aspects of this, as to, for example, attorney-client privilege documents. They're going to return a lot of the former president's property to basically narrow the issues here and get it down to something that is very hard for the Court of Appeals to rule against them on, and that is their use of their own classified documents, which are government property, which are not covered by any privilege and are not owned by the former president. And
yeah, there's like any way you slice this, it just none of it makes sense. Like the documents belong to the government, so how is this executive privilege for somebody who's not in the government? Like, what?
I think, they're basically trying to keep the process moving and give themselves the strongest possible grounds for appeal.
Renato Mariotti, thank you.
Okay, so I think I've got Prime Minister Trudeau's. Do we still care about the Queen? Do we want to see Trudeau weep over the Queen? It's like it's 7 minutes long. Geez, I don't want to go backwards in segments. Maybe I'll try to keep the when we come back for the King's first speech. That might be a segue back into Queen News Queen boss, something like that. Because I'm sure that speech is going to be lit. It's going to be fire. It's gonna be really good. Kings give good speeches, right? Just by power of their office. Okay, I got something in the background just to keep an eye on that. Let's continue with the main segment. So yeah, this was pretty crazy. This is from Reuters, Sarah Lynch. U.S. reveals more classified records may be missing in the Trump probe. Oh, just let me refresh. We'll get the tunes going again. Oh, this is a really good, like, such a good track. Okay. Oh, and I think we have Trump freaking out on Truth Social, so that should be fun later. Former President Donald Trump's team may not have returned all the classified records removed from the White House at the end of his presidency, even after an FBI search of his home. U.S. prosecutors warned on Thursday, calling it a potential national security risk that needs investigation. That revelation came in a Justice Department court filing asking U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon to let it continue reviewing about 100 classified records seized by the FBI at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate, while it investigates whether classified documents were legally removed from the White House and improperly stored there. Trump is under investigation for retaining government records, some of which were marked as highly classified at the resort after leaving office. I think he had them for like 2 years, and they were supposed to be stored in a skiff, inside a safe inside a skiff with a guard. Like basically a bank vault, or sorry, a safe inside a bank vault. And it was just like by his pool. It's got a single padlock. The 100 documents represent a fraction of the more than 11,000 records and photographs seized, most of which the government said Trump may review because they are not classified. This motion is limited to the seized classified records because those aspects of the order will cause the most immediate and serious harms to the government and the public, the department said in its court filing. The prosecutors also asked the judge not to allow an independent arbiter called a special master to review classified materials seized from Trump's property. Trump, in a posting on his Truth Social platform, described the request as a waste of money. Oh, please give me the... It's just search results. Oh, come on, Reuters. Bad journalism. I want to read it in its full deliciousness. The Justice Department on Thursday suggested there could be more classified records that were removed from the Trump White House that investigators have not yet located. This revelation comes about a week after the Justice Department released a detailed list of property seized from Trump's home, which showed the FBI located 48 empty folders labeled as classified, and another 42, which indicated they should be returned to a staff secretary or military aide. Oh gosh, oh no, oh no, oh no. There's a bunch of empty folders, like, it doesn't look, I don't know how you make that look good. Legal experts were perplexed as to why the folders were empty, and it was not clear whether records were missing. Quote, without a stay, the government and the public will also suffer irreparable harm from the undue delay to the criminal investigation. Prosecutors wrote, the injunction against using classified records in the criminal investigation could impede efforts to identify the existence of any additional classified records that are not being properly stored, which itself represents the potential for ongoing risk to national security, they added. Prosecutors asked Cannon for a ruling by September 15th. What's today? It's the 9th? Okay. So by next Friday, we'll have another enormous F5 Friday news dump. Awesome. On this topic. If she denies the request, they intend to file... If she denies the request? Oh, interesting. Okay. They intend to file an appeal to the Atlanta-based 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, where 6 of the 11 active judges are Trump appointees. Fun! The Republicans have gamed this all the way to the Supreme Court in a 6-5 decision. In a 5-4 decision, you're like, oh my god, no. This is how America dies. Like... In an order on Thursday evening, Cannon gave Trump's lawyers until Monday morning to respond to the government's request. Cannon, also a Trump appointee who was appointed after he lost the election and who was not recommended by the American Bar Association. On Monday, she ordered prosecutors to pause reviewing the more than 11,000 recovered records while a special master is appointed to review the material. The Justice Department said it will, on Friday, provide the court a list of possible special master candidates in a joint filing with Trump's attorneys, as Cannon has requested. The Justice Department is also investigating possible obstruction of justice after it uncovered evidence showing that records may have been removed or concealed. Come on! Put him away! Lock him up! From the FBI when it sent agents to Trump's home in June to try to recover all classified docs through a grand jury subpoena. Empty folders, obstruction of justice, nuclear level, like, secrets. Man still walking free? What's happening? Cannon granted Trump's request for a special master despite prosecutors' objections and the fact that he hadn't actually properly asked for it in the proper legal way. The judge said the special master will review documents not just covered by attorney-client privilege, but any records possibly covered by executive privilege as well. Executive privilege is a legal doctrine that can shield some presidential records from disclosure. The Justice Department has challenged the logic of using executive privilege because Trump does not own the records and is no longer president. Like, it's scary. That's someone said that's like a form of legal fascism, right? Like, there's no coherence. It's logically unsound. It's contradictory. But because she has the power in the moment, you create your own reality. You make your own reality. And everybody has to adapt to it, as Karl Rove said in the 90s. Quote, no potential assertion of executive privilege could justify restricting the executive branch's review and use of the classified records at issue here, the Justice Department wrote. In Cannon's Monday order, she allowed U.S. intelligence officials to review all of the seized materials as part of their ongoing national security damage assessment. But the Justice Department said there is no way to wall off the criminal investigation and the national security review. They're like kind of one and the same. Quote, the ongoing intelligence community classification review and assessment are closely interconnected with and cannot be readily separated from areas of inquiry of the DOJ's and the FBI's ongoing criminal investigation. Yeah, like, I think they said earlier that, like, the fact that these documents were mixed up is evidence. That's evidence towards their case that he was improperly handling it. Like, you don't give a special master the power to separate those documents because that's part of your argument. You're saying, hey, these things need to be put in a safe inside a vault guarded by a guard, and here they are in some folder marked, hot goods. Some legal experts on Thursday lauded the Justice Department's approach to Cannon's order, saying it carefully preserves its right to appeal broader concerns about a special master appointment, while at the same time asking Cannon for a much narrower solution for bigger concerns. I think this government has embarked on a shrewd tactical strategy, said David Laufman, an attorney who previously served as chief of the department's counterintelligence. He said the department's legal strategy, quote, takes a scalpel to Cannon's order by seeking immediate relief from its worst parts, like stop the investigation into the possible criminal, while still preserving its right to appeal in the future. Quote, they are focusing on what is most critical and most time-sensitive, both with respect to protecting the national security interests of the United States and with conducting follow-up investigative action. That was an interesting story. Man, I cannot believe this stuff. It is wild to me. They, like, corrupted the judiciary. Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm thinking of making I'll never make it because I just don't have the time, but I'm thinking of making a video called The Third Most Powerful Man in the World. And it would be all about Leonard Leo and Sheldon Whitehouse's investigations into him. If you don't know either of those names, Leonard Leo is the guy who has been pumping dark money through conservative groups. He's the longtime vice president of the Federalist Society and is basically how and why we're seeing this insane legalese. That really crazy judge, Eileen Cannon, Federalist Society, super young, unqualified by the American Bar Association. He led campaigns to support the nominations of John Roberts, Samuel Alito, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett. And he assisted Clarence Thomas during his confirmation hearings. Like, this man is so... Like, not a lot of people know about him, but he is so integral to the current political, like, fabric of America. And he's just been skating by in the shadows. And the big story is that, like, there's like a $1.6 billion donation, dark money. I think Sheldon Whitehouse, yeah, here it is. August 22nd. Yeah, exactly. ProPublica got the scoop, as always. How a secretive billionaire handed his fortune to the architect of the right-wing takeover of the courts. In the largest known political advocacy donation in U.S. history, industrialist Bar Zeed funded a new group run by Federalist Society co-chair Leonard Leo, who guided Trump's Supreme Court picks and helped end federal abortion rights. If you are wondering why Roe v. Wade got overturned, this man is part of the reason why. So I'm thinking of doing like maybe a 10-minute video. I want to get into like the video essay game. There's like 2 stories. There's the r/place one, which is ancient now by internet standards, and this one, which is like a real slow burner. Not a lot of people talk about it. Sheldon Whitehouse is all over this and is like probably the crux of this story, because he spent a lot of his time during the Amy Coney Barrett hearings just detailing the dark money groups and all of these questionable rulings and these odd amicus briefs, like all sorts of crazy stuff happening in the courts. So if I don't do it, remind me, and I will. School's starting, but I should be able to fit it in at some point. Video essays are based. I made one for school, and it was awesome. Like, it was pretty great. I really enjoyed making it. Okay, let's get back to the second segment of the day. Alrighty. Let's see here. Okay, here. I think I have Trump's Truth Social tweets. Come on, baby. Give me the goods. Okay, here it is. I gotta find a better source than Newsweek, my goodness. So now the FBI and Biden Department of Justice leakers are going to spend millions of dollars and vast amounts of time and energy to appeal the order on the raid of Mar-a-Lago document hoax by a brilliant and courageous judge whose words of wisdom rang true throughout our nation, instead of fighting the record-setting corruption and crime that is taking place right before their very eyes. If I didn't know better. Sounds like a good video, Technomicah? Ah, thanks for the support. I think I think I have a rough idea, but I would have to listen to a lot of content to put it together. I love that when I read this, it makes me think of Alexander Pope, like old style poetry from like the 18th century, with like the random capitalization, the extremely long syntax, the sort of complete sentence, it's great stuff. It's awesome. Truly, we were not good enough for him. He was too good for us. I think there was actually, if I can find it again, there was this awesome presentation. Trump is really funny. Let's see if I can find it again. There's this like great presentation at some conference, and I was just arguing that Trump is actually hilarious. It was very convincing. I look for it on background, I guess. I might not come across it. It was just in my timeline. And I think I had more details on this. We got Above the Law. This is a law blog. Let me just exit this. DOJ appeals Mar-a-Lago special master order on grounds of, excuse me, pardon me, we're actually part of the executive branch. You know that, right? You know that we are the executive. Like, luckily, the 11th Circuit is full of reasonable jurists, fiercely protective of precedent and norms. LOL by Liz Dye. This afternoon, the Justice Department noticed an appeal of U.S. District Cannon's appointment of a special master to sort through records seized. Yada, yada, yada. We read through this. Do we have any funny bits? As a threshold matter, prosecutors remind the court that there is no circumstance under which Donald Trump could ever claim a possessory interest in classified documents, which are definitionally... Okay, there's too many syllables in this. I thought this would be fun. But this definitionally? I don't know, man. This is making my tongue work out too hard. This article is... You know what I'm gonna do? I know it's a law blog. I shouldn't be complaining. But I'm curious, like... grade level... tester or whatever. Readability checker, there it is. There's a bunch of these. Yes. How readable is this? Your results. No, there's no result. Oh, here we go. Very difficult to read. College graduate and above. Okay, all right. We're gonna run away from that article. I thought something was wrong. I think this is one of the last, one of the last ones on Trump. Ex-U.S. attorney's book addresses pressure to help Trump causes. This story sort of floated about on the side. It's kind of like documenting more Trump crimes. But yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. Apparently, Trump pushed officials to prosecute his critics, and I think the story goes that Bill Barr might have done some of it. No, that's the scoop. That's the story, anyways. Jeffrey Berman, who headed the Manhattan office, says in a book, the Justice Department pushed cases against John Kerry and others to help Mr. Trump. Benjamin Weiser, New York Times. A book by a former top federal prosecutor offers new details about how the Justice Department under Trump sought to use the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan to support Mr. Trump politically and pursue his critics, even pushing the office to open a criminal investigation of former Secretary of State John Kerry. John Kerry. The one who got swift-boated by Bush. The prosecutor, Jeffrey Berman, was the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York for 2.5 years until June 2020, when Mr. Trump fired him after he refused a request to resign by Bill Barr, who sought to replace him with an administration ally, also known as a toady. A copy of Mr. Berman's book, Holding the Line, was obtained by the New York Times before its scheduled publication Tuesday. The book paints a picture of Justice Department officials motivated by partisan concerns in pursuing investigations or blocking them, in weighing how forthright to be in court filings. Oh, that's spicy. How forthright to be in court filings, as in they weren't giving the full truth, and in shopping investigations to other prosecutors' offices when the Southern District declined to act. Hey, can we get a DA in on this? Somebody want to do this fake investigation for us? The book contains accounts of how department officials tried to have allusions to Mr. Trump scrubbed from charging papers from Michael Cohen, his former personal lawyer, and how the Attorney General later tried to have his conviction reversed. Whoa! It tells of pressure to pursue Mr. Kerry, who had angered Mr. Trump by attempting to preserve the nuclear deal he had negotiated with Iran. And in September 2018, Mr. Berman writes, 2 months before the November midterms, a senior department official called Mr. Berman's deputy, cited the Southern District's recent prosecutions of 2 prominent Trump loyalists, and bluntly asserted that the office, which had been investigating Gregory Craig, a powerful Democratic lawyer, should charge him, and should do so before Election Day. Quote, "It's time for you guys to even things out." Whoa! It's time for you guys to even things out, man. Cops. That's some cop shit. The book comes as Mr. Trump and his supporters have accused the Biden administration and Merrick Garland of using the Justice Department as a weapon after a judge authorized FBI agents to search his Florida house for missing classified records. Mr. Trump, who is a likely presidential candidate in 2024, has suggested without evidence that Biden is playing a role in that investigation. However, Mr. Berman's book says that during Mr. Trump's presidency, department officials made overtly political demands, choosing targets that would directly further Mr. Trump's desires for revenge and advantage. Mr. Berman wrote that the pressure was clearly inspired by the president's openly professed wants. In the book, Mr. Berman, who as U.S. attorney did not give news interviews, offers new details about the high-profile prosecutions of defendants like Mr. Cohen, Chris Collins, a Republican congressman from New York, Michael Avenatti. You remember him? You remember Michael Avenatti, chat? Man, remember Avenatti? I'm so glad I didn't go in full send for him. He always seemed a bit slimy, and sure enough, he got roasted for, what, defrauding Nike or something? And finally, Jeffrey Epstein? What? Wait, what? Okay. Okay. Somebody get QAnon on the line. Somebody... So this is big news, everybody. This is big news. This is what QAnon's been looking for. The deep state quashing or investigations into Jeffrey Epstein. He says there were cases his office pursued without pressure from Washington, but in others, he makes clear his greatest challenges did not always have to do with law. Quote, throughout my tenure as U.S. attorney, Mr. Berman, 62, writes, Trump's Justice Department kept demanding that I use my office to aid them politically. Yeah, that's not good. And I kept declining in ways just tactful enough to keep me from being fired. Wow. He's like dodging getting fired. It's awesome. It's great. I walked this tightrope for 2.5 years. Eventually the rope snapped. Mr. Berman, who in the book describes himself as a Rockefeller Republican, had been a federal prosecutor in the Manhattan office from 1990 to 1994. So he's not necessarily a good guy, everybody. And went on to become a co-managing partner of the New Jersey office of the law firm Greenberg Traurig. So he volunteered during the campaign and for the transition committee. Oh my God. Boo. So yeah, pretty explosive claims, not gonna lie. That's pretty wild. Big stuff. It's, pretty big news. Okay, what else we got on the docket? Okay, we covered that. I think this is worth taking a look at. This is still in the same vein. So let's keep on with this story. From Rolling Stone. Nikki McCann Ramirez. Republican officials were caught instructing poll workers to secretly break rules. Leaked audio. Republicans in Michigan are working to take control of election proceedings by stalking polling places with, quote, undercover agents. Okay, let's listen. Oh, man. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Undercover agents, chat? Oh, fuck.
Now to a CNN exclusive video showing election workers being trained by Republicans.
Go on, CNN.
Break the rules so they can act as, quote, undercover agents during the midterm elections in November. Drew Griffin joins us live with this CNN investigation. This is incredibly alarming, Drew.
Doubly troubling, Brianna, because this comes amid a big nationwide push by this ultra-MAGA crowd to get involved in the election. The people who didn't believe the last election was fair for some reason still are now getting
Some reason.
Why what you're about to see.
Let me give you a reason, Jack.
CNN obtained this recording of a Wayne County GOP training session over Zoom the night before the Michigan primary last month.
So you're all really undercover agents. Congratulations. This is undercover training.
It is extra training, partisan training, not just for volunteers observing elections, but including the actual paid election workers who will check in voters, hand out ballots, even help in the counting, which is why what they are being told is alarming.
There's a lot of bad stuff that's happening in this upcoming election, so we're going to have to keep our heads on a swivel and just start documenting irregularities.
The poll workers are hired by towns and clerks, and Wayne County's Republican chairperson Cheryl Costantino tells them
I'm gonna get some water real quick.
rules to uncover fraud.
Hydration check.
Trainers that they could not have their phones with them. So I would say maybe just hide it, and maybe hide a small pad and a small pen. You need to take accurate notes.
If we are observed with a pen and a piece of paper writing at anything, they just said they would ask us that they would remove us.
That's why you got to do it secretly.
This training for the primary was just practice for the upcoming midterms, according to Costantino. And it's not just what's being taught, it's who is doing the teaching.
Oh,
I think
shit.
a lot of the monkey business that's happening is happening at the vote aggravation location.
That is election denier Patrick Colbeck, who co-led this training session. He's a former state senator who wrote a book called The 2020 Coup and has a blog filled with debunked conspiracy theories about voting machines. He spread so much disinformation about the 2020
Look at him
election,
go.
He got this cease and desist letter
Whoa.
from Dominion, the voting machine company, saying, "You are knowingly sowing discord in our democracy."
Nice.
All the while soliciting exorbitant amounts of money.
$1 million?
He's appeared on Steve Bannon's show and with the My Pillow guy, Mike.
The My Pillow guy.
We did see evidence that it was connected to the internet.
There is no evidence
Connected to the
voting
internet.
machines were connected to the internet in the 2020 election. But
Man, the
Colbeck is still
disinformation.
asking Republican poll workers to check.
There's this little icon down the bottom right-hand corner. And what I'm trying to do is to see whether or not these machines are indeed connected to the internet.
Colbeck refused to speak to CNN, but the other leader of the training, Cheryl Costantino, did.
Oops.
Training these people to be undercover spies. That was
Oh my god, does she ever look the part? You're training people to be undercover spies, he says. Yo, if someone ever asked you that question, you're in hot water. You're up Shit's Creek. Like, there's no way out of that.
the words you were using, and I'm wondering why.
Well, first of all, if you remember in the election 2 years ago,
No.
there were so many problems.
With election staffing, she said, with who counted ballots. But she's an election denier, too. She filed a baseless lawsuit in Detroit alleging election fraud in 2020. It was thrown out. Why did she tell election workers to act like spies?
To kind of reframe it and make it more fun and interesting.
Fun and interesting.
You know, instead of causing a bunch of scenes and things like that, just write it down, just kind of be like spies and let me know what's going on.
Whoa! Yo! Oh shit! Straight to jail. Please. Straight to jail.
While Michigan's primary election went smoothly,
I did nothing wrong.
a poll challenger affiliated with Colbeck and his training was thrown out of Detroit's ballot counting center for repeatedly getting too close to workers.
I told them that they were breaking the law.
What's happening in Michigan is happening across the nation. Attempts are underway to make sure the Ultra MAGA run the election process, from poll workers all the way
The
up to
Ultra
candidates
MAGA.
for Secretary of State and Attorney General. Trump attorney Cleta Mitchell has led seminars in 8 swing states, all under the presumption Democrats cheat. CNN caught up with her in Wisconsin.
That we'll be able to make sure that there's another set of eyes going on, watching the ballots, watching the voting, watching the process, knowing what's going on in the election offices.
These training sessions are planned chaos. These people are being radicalized.
Jeff Jarrett
Yikes.
used to lead the Michigan Republican Party.
They think they're saving democracy from the cannibal socialists.
Of course.
Where, in fact,
Cannibal
what they're doing
socialists.
is eroding the public's faith in elections.
Brianna, Secretary of State's, particularly in Michigan, they're preparing for whatever might come up, but there is a bright spot in this, and that's from the town clerks that actually run these elections. They say that most of this election denialism is coming out of ignorance, and once they get these volunteers and even employees in there, even suspicious ones, and they see how the system works, they actually become believers in how we
Lamau.
run this country.
Lamau.
So hopefully that will take place.
Jesus. Yes, let's just let the people who are deranged and full of conspiracy theories into the most sensitive system for democracy so that we can just help them understand that nothing's wrong here. Let's make sure we bend over backwards for these people. We don't want to make it hard for them. Oh man, this is a good meme. This is one of those if you know memes. Incredibly somber mood outside the Tower of London this evening. I know the Queen spent many pleasurable moments here, and the sense of loss is palpable. Very sad indeed. If you know, you know. I remember when this first opened and I was in college. It was such a fucking... What a big shift. Oh! Okay, moving on. Apparently at some point, King Charles III once flipped off Donald Trump. Awesome. Based. Hella based. We've got some Karen. I think we got some Karen watch. Here's a good meme. We're gonna change our Canadian builds to be more in line with our rich culture. Would be pretty good, hey bud? Be dope as hell. All right, and let's see here. Oh yeah, can't forget this story. So apparently NPR got a copy of Dinesh D'Souza's book, 2000 Mules, the thing that was like cited a bunch of times during the January 6th Commission as like radicalizing people because it's like full of disinformation. NPR, Tom Dreisbach. Can we watch like the... Is there like... I wonder if I'll get in trouble just for what are they called? Like the intro or the promotion? Preview. Is there not like a... What are those things called? Trailer. Disinformation ahead.
Extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history
I'll be sad when I see King Charles' face on a loony. Oh my god, that won't ever happen. If they take the loon away from the loony, then it will really be silly. What are the top comments?
Let me say it again.
The 2020 election was the most secure
election in American history.
Let me begin by asking.
I think you get an idea. I think you get an idea of what kind of film it is.
That went to an average of 24 drop boxes. But Philadelphia alone, we've identified more than 1,100 mules.
What is...
Oh, this shit is so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
Person picking up ballots and running them to the drop box.
No evidence that this happened whatsoever. Like every time this has like been brought before the courts, it's been struck down almost with prejudice, like complete horseshit.
But being that emotional support behind the scenes, as well as beginning to...
Wow, the Brits are still talking about their sad feels. Oh. Everybody, if you got a can of beans, pour one out for our British friends, okay? Good old can of beans. For months. Oh, let's put some music on. I think we're almost through that mix track. Theo Parrish. For months, the conservative provocateur Dinesh D'Souza teased that the book version of his widely debunked film 2000 Mules would provide compelling new evidence that the 2020 election was stolen. The film has been repeatedly promoted by Trump, who even hosted a screening at his Mar-a-Lago resort. Oh man, to be a fly on the wall. Then, just before the book's scheduled release, and after copies had already arrived in stores, D'Souza's publisher, Regnery, abruptly pulled the book from shelves and delayed the ebook release, citing an unspecified publishing error. Regnery is a division of Salem Media Group, which reduced its quarterly earnings estimate because of the delay. On Twitter, D'Souza blamed Regnery for the recall. Quote, somehow a significant error got missed by the publisher, he said. But not every copy of the book got recalled. Oh, rub your hands together, chat. After traveling in Los Angeles, trafficked to more than a half dozen booksellers. Nice! NPR. I love how they're like emphasizing that LA traffic sucks and that it was a big challenge. NPR found a copy of the 2000 Mules tucked into a shelf of the current affairs section at a Barnes & Noble's in the San Fernando Valley. The book does not appear to suffer from an obvious production error, which might explain the delay. A misaligned photo, incorrect page numbers, or blank pages. The book does, however, regurgitate the content of the film 2000 Mules, including misleading claims, which have been thoroughly debunked by fact-checkers and critics across the political spectrum. Former attorney Bill Barr called the film's underlying premise indefensible. Despite those flaws, 2000 Mules has emerged as a leading theory for supporters of Trump's baseless claim that he actually won the 2020 election. For Trump and some of his most diehard fans, among them candidates for public office, like quite a few actually, like more than half of Republicans strongly believe, I think it's like more than half right now, strongly believe that Trump won the election. Just by the way. The project has served as proof of the stolen election. The film's allegations were often vague and largely based on data that have not been made public. As a result, some elements of the film were difficult, if not impossible, to fully fact-check. The book adds new details, however, which NPR has been able to scrutinize, finally, to the dirt. NPR contacted organizations named in the book for comment about some of D'Souza's written claims. They referred to passages in the book as malarkey, inaccurate, and trash. One group, whose data are cited in the book, said it would request a correction. Another raised the possibility of legal action. Oh man, imagine writing a book so bad you get sued over it. The film and book are both based on the research of a controversial organization called True the Vote and the activists Catherine Engelbrecht and Greg Phillips. Both Engelbrecht and Phillips are credited as executive producers of the film. In a statement to NPR, the group distanced itself from the book. Quote, True the Vote had no participation in this book and has no knowledge of its contents. We're washing our hands. This includes any allegations of activities of any specific organizations made in the book. We made no such allegations. The book reflects the views of the author, not of True the Vote, Catherine Engelbrecht. Oh, that's awesome. Regnery declined to answer NPR's questions for the story and said the copy of the book NPR obtained, quote, was printed in error and some advanced copies were distributed in error. We will be happy to talk to you more about 2000 Mules once it is published, but we are not commenting on questions about a recalled book. Here's what's in the book. D'Souza did not respond to comment. D'Souza names nonprofits that he claims helped steal the 2020 election. Oh man, yeah, we finished that album. Let's put on some Animal Crossing. D'Souza names nonprofits that he claims helped steal the 2020 election. The central thesis of 2000 Mules is essentially that left-wing nonprofit groups engaged in illegal ballot trafficking and paid people, i.e. the mules of the title, to gather ballots and stuff drop boxes with pro-Biden votes. To build that case, 2000 Mules relies on True the Vote, which claims that it used cell phone location data to prove its case. The film version of 2000 Mules does not name a single nonprofit that D'Souza or True the Vote allege took part in the alleged scheme, let alone give them a chance to respond to the accusation that they committed crimes. D'Souza told interviewers that the reason for the omission was due to legal concerns. They didn't want to get sued for libel. Basically, or I guess it would be, damn, the other one. Blasphemy. Damn, I forgot what it's called. Not libel, but the other one. Basically, when you're putting a movie in the theater, you need 3 different types of insurance, D'Souza told Megyn Kelly on her podcast earlier this year. And so we got into a big fight with these lawyers who insisted that we can't name the nonprofits. Now, normally, I would have battled them over this, but the problem was I was trying to get the movie out right away because it's so timely. The book, however, this is him being like, I don't want to have to do it the correct way. I just go fast and break things like Mark Zuckerberg would want me to. The book, however, does name 7 different groups. NPR contacted all of them for comment. Always my favorite thing. One of the groups D'Souza names is the New Georgia Project, an Atlanta-based group that focuses on registering and mobilizing young voters and voters of color. Aklima Kondoker, is that a real name? Kondoker, the chief legal officer for the New Georgia Project, called the allegations malarkey and hogwash. Because they're not based in fact, they're based on conspiracy theories. What is with this word malarkey? Is Biden bringing it back? Is everybody, like, required to use this word now that, you know what I mean? Like, now that, balderdash. Kondoker said the allegations in D'Souza's book can be viewed as libelous. Yeah, I was right. Oh yeah, because it's a book. Oh, fuck. And noted that neither True the Vote nor D'Souza contacted the New Georgia Project for comment, a fundamental step for any journalistic or documentary project. Kondoker declined to say whether the New Georgia Project would take legal action in response to the book, but said, quote, "It sounds like a bunch of lies committed to paper, and there are legal consequences for doing that." So yeah, sounds like D'Souza's gonna eat it. Let's check back in on English land. Sorry, let me kill the music. Damn. Where's the music, man? Where's the music?
Ministers have talked about how crucial and how important that weekly audience with the monarch is to them. Because it is the one time where the head of the state and the head of government come together and discuss the politics of the day, what is happening in government. And the Queen was always there as wise counsel. She had seen
also, I should say,
so much. She had such wisdom.
You've been enjoying the content. It's September. It is cheaper to support me. And if you don't have money, you can subscribe to me like Max did on YouTube. That's free. Still, it helps me too. Or follow me on Twitter. Be weird. I'm here every morning, 9 a.m. most days, except the days when I'm feeling bad. Back to the stream.
Only meeting where she could guarantee that it wouldn't have got leaked to the media. And that was really important. That is really important
Also, September
for
Sunday.
Prime Ministers to know that they can walk
Fun
into
content.
that room at Buckingham Palace, and latterly it's been done virtually, and they can share
We're gonna read this.
what is going on. They can share their concerns, and they have wise counsel.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna read this. I think I'm gonna read this when we get to 20. It feels like such a mystery. Feels like such a mystery. You know what I mean? I want to know why there are rainbow goblins. I want to know why the rainbow doesn't touch the earth anymore. What did the goblins do? What did they do to her? Well, you'll find out Sunday.
One of the things that impressed upon them is that she was this woman, and the monarchy as well is above politics. They don't have to every few years
monarchy is
craft
above
messages
politics.
to get votes.
She said it.
It's a consistency that just.
You're right. The monarchy is above politics because it's anointed by God. Funny that, eh?
Elizabeth's death is pretty poignant when you look at the time we're living in right now in U.S. politics with so much divisiveness, that you do have this symbol of continuity who went through history meeting with so many political figures, world leaders who she may not have agreed with on a personal basis, but she lived out that duty and that sense of service because she felt that that was her job and she was going to see it all the way through. So yeah, you're right. We don't have much to compare it to, the two systems, but it is sort of a hopeful beacon to look at when you do consider all of those positive sides of monarchy.
Oh God, I'm dead. I'm dead. Holy cow.
So, James Homan, let's talk about
what am I watching?
What is expected in terms of Charles as a leader
What?
versus the
The
role of a prime
positive
minister.
aspects of
it may seem like a
monarchy?
bit of an obvious difference, right? The king versus prime minister. But where do the boundaries of Charles's power begin and end?
Yeah, to answer that question, let me just jump
He's
on to
anointed by
what Rhonda
God.
just said, which is, this idea that we don't have this dual hat system here. And as a result of that, I think for Americans, we expect our presidents to play the role that both the Queen or King plays and that the Prime Minister plays. In the British system, they do not erect the kinds of cults of personality around their prime ministers that we erect around our presidents. You think back just 2 days ago when we were doing the Obama portrait unveiling. It's just Americans look to their presidents to be both head of state and head of government. And so
head of the
Charles
military.
doesn't have to do the head of government. He's the head of state. He is the sovereign now. And so that actually does free him up. It's one of the reasons there can be the longevity is that the British population isn't going to necessarily blame Charles for high energy prices or high food prices or shortages or inflation. They will blame Liz Truss. And that's why the Queen's reign endured through 15 prime ministers,
So wait,
including,
are you telling me? Wait, hold on. I'm confused. Are you telling me that now that the monarchy doesn't wield absolute power over the legal and constitutional framework of the society, the blame falls on representatives that the people elected? That doesn't sound good at all. Why is Liz Truss getting so much blame?
During her first televised Christmas message in 1957, she said, "Today we need a special kind of courage, so we can show the world that we are not afraid of the future. We need that courage now." In an instant yesterday, our lives changed forever.
Forever.
Today, we show the world that we do not fear what lies ahead. We send our deepest sympathy
I think that's kind of the problem.
to all members of the royal family.
Like, you didn't fear what was ahead with Brexit, and you probably really should have.
Real service to our new king.
What if King Charles gets all uppity?
Liz
wants
Truss
to do
earlier
stuff?
today. Hannah, one hates to think of a death as being an opportunity, and we want to be careful about how we frame and couch this. But is this a moment for Liz Truss to show and demonstrate some leadership and settle into this brand new role for her, just as King Charles will be doing, as the British people look to her?
Absolutely. It is this moment for her to sort of transition from being, one of two leading contenders in a contentious leadership race, which, as in, any moment in British politics, lots of sort of mockery abounds and lots of sort of wheelings and dealings, to step from that role of like a candidate who is facing that kind of scrutiny to saying, well, now I am, as we saw her yesterday, putting on her dark clothes and coming out and trying to, do this rousing speech to unite the nation. In this moment, it's certainly a big, it could go either way if she is seen as not handling this, not paying her respects, to the satisfaction of the British public or media. She will, be critiqued for that too. But it's really this moment of huge change in Britain at which she has found herself unwittingly and very quickly one of the leading figures.
If you're just joining us, a reminder that we expect to hear King Charles III give a speech this afternoon, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 o'clock London time. You have a live shot there at Buckingham Palace, and that is where we're talking to Sarah Hewson, a royal reporter who joins us from just outside the palace. Sarah,
I'll probably
please
have
go
to
deeper into what Hannah was talking about this
some
moment of trial and turmoil for the British people on every front. From looking at the...
It's so odd to think of like people just like all choked up about this, like they're just pouring their tea and shaking. Even if it, I mean, yeah, it's the Queen over my country, and I could not give a single hockey puck.
That we have had that transition of prime ministers this week, and that the Queen was able to conduct that constitutional duty, because just imagine if we had been in the middle of a leadership contest with that process not yet resolved and the Queen had died. Already there is a nation feeling a sense of loss and almost untethered, because the Queen has been that anchor for so many people, the only monarch anyone has ever known. And I think the fact that she was able to carry out that last and very important constitutional duty, appointing her 15th Prime Minister, is hugely important. And it has been and is a time of great political upheaval, both here and around the world. And the King will have to reflect on that over the coming days. Whether or not he does that in his speech in the next, hour and 45 minutes, we will have to wait to see. But also for the nation here, some of the details that I hadn't even comprehended, and, I've been following the royal family for many years now, and building up to this moment, planning and thinking about and preparing.
You've been thinking about it,
But some of the details I hadn't even contemplated. A new face on the stamps, a new face on the banknotes, new initials on all of the post boxes. The police uniforms will have to change to reflect the new king.
It's going to cost so much money.
Uniforms will change. So much that will need to change over the course of the coming months that I think it has almost been impossible.
Okay, Denims has a tweet for anybody who has missed Twitter. Don't make vulgar comments about the Queen. This might be TOS. It's happening, everybody stay calm. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh no, I can't wait until she... Oh my gosh, stop Twitter. Oh no. What? Oh man, that was awesome. That was good. That was good. The internet really be wilding out. Internet do be bussin'. Okay, are we still gonna listen to this? Is it worth listening
Imagine
to?
tribute to the Queen in the House of Commons, and he managed to get a few laughs as well.
They gotta change the stamps, everybody. Some of the House of Commons stuff has been kind of interesting.
And this will now be no more. May she rest in peace.
Yeah. Andrew Morrison.
Lots of dick
Mr.
riding
Deputy
going on.
Speaker, I rise with the deep and profound condolences of my constituents in southwest Wiltshire. A good and gracious lady has been taken from us, and we're all
Oh, now I
for
remember
that.
why I stopped watching this.
A lady who has shaped the contours of our national life for 70 years has gone, but her legacy endures. And if you doubt that,
do maybe want to
just
see
the
Hassan's
pictures
reaction?
of His Majesty in the hour of his grief, greeting the crowds that have gathered outside Buckingham Palace today. Mr. Deputy Speaker, grown men don't cry, do they? Well,
Wait,
they
what?
do.
Wait,
And I've cried twice in my adult life. Once when my father died, and once last night. For a
Holy
woman
shit, that's funny.
that I had only met once.
Holy
at the aforementioned
shit, that's
gin and
funny.
tonic opportunity that a number of right honourable members have
Oh my
cited
God, that's
today. But
content.
unfortunately, in my case, there was no
How do
gin
I
and
clip
tonic.
this?
And the reason it is
Somebody
so
clip
profound
that.
for most of us
Somebody
is for
please.
most of our lives, all of our lives, she has been a constant. Somebody who has
Holy
always
shit.
been there.
Oh,
a rock,
please
a
please
stable
clip that.
place, someone to look
Please,
to and
please.
to
This is
admire.
so
And like
funny.
many colleagues around
Oh
the House
my
today,
God.
when I go to primary
I've only-
schools, I'm asked two questions.
I've only cried twice in my life. Once when my mother died. And once when the Queen, and once last night. Oh, I guess the clip doesn't work because you don't know what's last night. You don't know that's the Queen. Damn.
Usually.
Oh, that's
one
right.
more
Oh,
difficult
so
to
good
answer
though.
than the other. Have you met the Queen, and how much are you paid?
All right, don't bother about clipping it. I guess.
Last night I called my
It's not gonna
mother
work.
because I knew she'd be upset.
It's funny though.
And she was. In June 1953, she, like many of her generation, lined the streets of London to watch another young woman go to her coronation. That was a profound moment for her and an extraordinary moment in the life of our nation. And very soon we will do something again under altogether more sombre circumstances. But her sense of profound loss is certainly replicated right across this land and by people of all generations. And if I can say particularly, since I remain a member of His Majesty's Armed Forces, by the armed forces of this country who have lost their commander-in-chief,
Their
many of whom
commander-in-chief.
live in the towns and villages around Salisbury Plain.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure soldiers are delighted to no longer be led by a decrepit old lady.
That I have the honour and privilege to represent. Now, in 878, Alfred the Great secured the future of what became Wessex and ultimately the nation-state
I'm not
we
sure
know
if the clip's gonna
today.
work. I don't know, man.
The Great is a descriptor that should not be used lightly.
Great.
Queen Elizabeth II is the benchmark for monarchs in this age and ages past. She is Elizabeth the Great. As the Elizabethan age closes and the Caroline era dawns,
The Carolina.
we have to understand that it will look and feel different. We will look and feel different. But
Oh, I got a really interesting clip. This is back to the Ukraine story we picked up on briefly. Look at this video. This is the counteroffensive visualized. So, I believe this is northeastern Ukraine. Boom. Oh, wow, it's a route. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Absolute rout. Oh, what were the Russians going to do? They had no troops there. Ukraine managed to move a huge... Oh my god. That's crazy. I love this stuff. Oh man, I love this stuff so much. Just this strategy and tactics. Erogenous zone. That's funny. Okay, what else I got? This was an interesting story. Utah representative told Mormon bishop not to report abuse. Documents show. Associated Press, Michael Resendiz and Jason Deeren. A Utah lawmaker and prominent attorney for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints advised, i.e. Mormons, advised the church bishop not to report a confession of child sex abuse to authorities. A decision that allowed the abuse to continue for years. Bro, every time. The record's 2 pages from a log of calls fielded by a law firm representing the church and the deposition of a church official show that Utah Republican state, again it's another Republican, state representative Merrill Nelson took the initial call from a bishop reporting that church member Paul Adams had sexually abused his daughters. It's just a church member? Nelson also had multiple conversations over a 2-year span with 2 bishops who knew of the abuse, the records show. Nelson is a conservative lawmaker who was elected to the Utah House of Representatives in 2013 and announced his retirement earlier this year. He was also a lawyer with the Salt Lake City firm Curtin McConkie, which represents the church. He earned his undergraduate... Okay, we don't care. A transcript of the deposition and excerpts of the call log were attached to a legal filing in the Arizona Court of Appeals made by lawyers for the plaintiffs. 3 of Adam's children are battling the church, widely known as the Mormon Church, for access to records the church insists are confidential. The church took the case to the Court of Appeals after a Cochise County judge ruled in favor of the victims. Whoa. According to the plaintiff's legal filing, Nelson advised Bishop John Herod not to report the abuse and told him, quote, that he could be sued if he reported, and the instruction by counsel not to report Paul to the authorities was the law in Arizona and had nothing to do with church doctrine. But Arizona's child sex abuse reporting law grants blanket legal immunity to anyone reporting abuse or neglect. The AP reported in August that Adams confessed to Herod in 2010 that he had abused his daughter, identified as MJ. How? How did they get away with this? The church's lawyers have said Herod and later Bishop Robert Kim Mousy legally withheld information about MJ's abuse under the state's clergy penitent privilege. Wow. Arizona law generally requires clergy members to report child neglect and abuse, but allows them to withhold information obtained during a spiritual confession? What? Stop. No. Really? Yo, the more I learn about America, the more it really seems like a shithole country. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. That is insane. Why? Who carved that out? Who made that exception? The log of calls filed in the Arizona Court of Appeals shows that Nelson spoke with Herod and Mousy multiple times from November of 2011 to February of 2014, a period during which Adams was excommunicated. Mousy presided over a 2013 church disciplinary process after which Adams was expelled. All right, it's a long story, but looked like someone even, met their end. But okay, geez, golly gosh, geez, everybody. That was a heck of a stream. I had a blast. I hope you had yourself a blast. I'll be here again tomorrow, and then Sunday. I'm gonna try a subathon. I have no idea what I'm doing. I hope it goes well. Please at least drop by and say hello. You don't have to subscribe. You just have to kind of hang out. Whatever. But thanks for being here, for hanging out. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. EST. I got some shows coming up. We got a poetry slam. I got some other stuff in the work. A polyglot slam, maybe, hopefully, possibly. So lots of cool things are in the work. And yeah, I'll be bringing it to you live and alive, everybody. So y'all have a lovely day. I'll see you later. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Go say hi to someone you like. Let them know you care.